Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this week's episode of The Formula, where we break down and explore the elements of achievement in world-class performers. My name is Trevor Carlson, and I will be your host this evening. This week's guest is Jairek Robbins. He's a performance coach, author of the book Live It, a keynote speaker, and a co-creator of the Complete Guide to High Performance. I noticed Jairek's posts on Instagram about performance and performing at a high level, and I'm pretty inspired every time I see him. And his course really caught my attention. So I invited him to be a guest on the show. After talking with him, I've gone and actually purchased the course myself, and I've been really happy with it so far. Once I'm done with the course, I'll throw up a review on our blog to share it with all of you. If you think it might be something you're interested in taking too. I think I paid like $10, and the workout plan alone is 59 pages long. So, I mean, if you're not sold on it already, it's definitely worth it. Jairek is a really gifted storyteller and just a really, really good guy who I really appreciated the opportunity to sit down and chat with. So thanks, Jairek, for taking the time to appear on the show. In this episode, we discuss what does it mean to perform at a high level. We hear those words thrown around all the time, high performance and all those things, but what does it really mean? How do you start performing at your highest level? How do you develop a growth mindset? What happens when you face a curveball? There's just a ton of just amazing stuff that we talk about in this episode. I don't want to ruin it all for you. So without further ado, and without me rambling on any further, I'm excited to get this show started with Jairek Robbins. Today on the podcast, I have Jairek Robbins. Jairek, first of all, I would like to say thank you for taking the time to show up today. And I just have a quick question to tee this thing off. And I'm just wondering, what does it mean to you to perform at a high level?
So high performance to me is the ability to really be the happiest, healthiest, strongest, and most fulfilled version of yourself. And so each one of those categories, there's a reason it's there. My 2 cents is if you're not really, truly happy in what you're doing every day, I mean, if you're just a miserable SOB on the inside and you're hating every moment of it, you could be at your absolute best, but eventually you won't want to do it anymore. And so you have to be truly happy in what you're doing. Fulfilled's a different thing. Happiness and fulfillment are similar concepts, but fulfillment is really feeling like you're doing something worth doing. Regardless if you enjoy it or not, you believe it's worth doing. And so happiness is first because you got to enjoy it to be able to stick with it long-term. Fulfillment, you got to feel that it's worth doing. It's worth investing your life into. It's worth, the juice is worth the squeeze kind of concept. It's worth it. The strongest version of yourself, life will throw you so many flipping curveballs and roadblocks and barriers that you have to be resilient. Physically resilient, emotionally resilient, mentally resilient, spiritually resilient to get through this kind of stuff that gets tossed your way. And so you need to be the strongest version of yourself, happiest, healthiest, strongest, and most fulfilled. The healthy too, again, it's a marathon, not a sprint. So you have to have the endurance to continue to keep going again and again and again and again, no matter how long, the race goes or how long it is. I was doing a training for the Special Operations Command of the Air Force, and the number one quality they look for in the pararescue jumpers is resilience. Do these men have the ability that when they believe they've reached the finish line and they're 2 steps from the finish line and they say, nope, the finish line is another 52 miles. They go, okay, and they just keep going.
Oh my
Or, are they the type of person that gets 2 steps and you're like, nope, 52 more miles, and they go, oh, kill me, and just fall over and give up. And the people who make it and the people who become the special ops kind of people who are willing to risk their lives, I mean, their motto is first there that others may live. So they're risking their lives to take care of other people and keep them alive. And so they're putting their life on the line for others. And that concept, though, is they have to be mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually resilient in every way possible. So that's what high performance means to me. Happiest, healthiest, strongest, and most fulfilled version of yourself.
That's interesting. I was trying to imagine what I would do if I was in that situation. It's like 2 feet to the finish line. They're like, "Oh, you got 52 miles." I'd be like, "Oh man, all right. Well, I guess we'll just see what happens." So if somebody approached you, which I'm sure this happens quite a bit, and they're, to use your words, they're a miserable SOB, and they're like, Jairek, I want to perform at a higher level. I want to live the happiest, healthiest, strongest life. Where do I start?
You got to start with the decision. So awesome for raising your hand and deciding you want to go for it. But the really simple thing is, I do get people who email me and message me and Facebook me and DM me all the time, who are like, I'm depressed and an alcoholic and frustrated and divorced and, down and out of money and all this other stuff. And they share the whole story, and they're like, I don't mean to be a sob story, but that's just what's real. And my response is, great. Thank you for telling me where you're at. It's like saying, hey, I'm in Denver. They're like, great, you're in Denver. Where do you want to go? Like, you've told me the facts. I know where you are. Now, where do you want to be? And so the first step is you got to decide where you actually want to be. And when I say happy, healthy, strong, and fulfilled, you got to define, what does that mean for you? What does strong mean for you? Does that mean the ability to take any crap life throws your way and easily and effortlessly and even enjoy getting through it? Is that being able to bench press 315 pounds? Is it, what does strength mean to you? Is it the ability to make it through even the craziest challenges life throws your way? But you got to define, what does that mean? And then you got to figure out where you are comparably. And if where you want to end up is New York City and currently you're in Denver, we can figure out, first we're going to draw a straight line so we know where you're going. And then we're going to look at the journey of what it takes to actually get there. And for everyone, it's a journey. There is no highway that goes directly from Denver straight to New York City with a straight line with zero twists, turns, curves, bumps, hills, or anything involved. It's a journey. And so that journey, we're going to have to get on the road. Now we know where we're headed, and we're going to have to go through the process to actually get there. Now, for some people, if you pick the right season of your life, if you pick the right, season in the year, might be summer. You could drive a soft top convertible, throw the top down, and enjoy the whole ride. And it's a smooth, effortless, fun cruise from Denver to New York. And it's this easy way to rebuild your life and make it the way you want it. For other people, you pick the wrong season of life. You're in the dead of winter. You're hurt, broken down, tired, exhausted, frustrated, beat up. And you got to drive a car with the right tires and the right gear. And then there's a flipping avalanche, 10 minutes into your journey. And now you got to dig your way out and keep going. And so for some people, it's one hell of a journey to get to where they want to go. But the second decision you got to make is, I'm going to have a growth mindset. And part of a growth mindset is saying, hey, I'm aware there's going to be challenges. There's going to be ups and downs. And so the very first thing you got to be willing to say and do is, hey, I embrace challenges. I'm okay. I'm excited about the ups and downs, left to right, the twists, the turns, the roadblocks, the avalanches. I'm down with that. Like, I know they're coming, and I am going to be excited when they show up. I'm going to celebrate when it goes the way I don't want it to. Number two, I persist in the face of setbacks. When it doesn't go my way, I persist. I'm willing to keep doing it until I get the result. Number three, effort is the key to winning this game. Meaning, if I'm going to get the life I want, it's all down to my effort. It's not luck. It's not winning the stupid lotto. It's saying I'm going to continue to strive until I get the result, and it's always based on my effort. If I'm not there, just keep going. And then, the last couple of pieces. Number one, learn from mistakes. So if I mess up, there's no such thing as failure. There's only learning. And so the concept of, I believe anytime I fall down, I have to learn what caused it and don't do it again, learn it, get better, and improve. And then finally, as I watch people around me who are quote unquote making it or getting the result I want, I'm going to learn from them, and I'm going to model them and figure out how to replicate what they're doing and to speed up my process to get there quicker myself. And so if you're willing to adopt that growth mindset, which has those key components I just talked about, it will allow you to really truly stay on path and continue to grind and strive until you get the result and actually enjoy the process versus being frustrated or devastated over it.
So if I could summarize, it starts out with the decision to really, you want to make a change, kind of setting where you want to go, really adapting a growth mindset where you're not discouraged by challenges and obstacles that might get thrown your way. Through that growth mindset, you persist, so you're able to continue through those obstacles or curveballs, And really it comes down to the amount of like effort, or like you said before, resiliency, and then learning from those curveballs or those stumbles, and then kind of maybe taking a look around and seeing who's farther along the journey than you are, that you can maybe learn some things from. Is that kind of summarized a little bit?
Spot on.
Perfect. So I gotta ask, we're talking a lot about curveballs and stuff that comes up. Is there a story or an experience where maybe you faced some type of curveball or obstacle and you had to work through it that you'd be willing to share with us?
Sure. I think the craziest curveball that I've ever faced was when a doctor sat me down at 20 years old and said, based on the amount of malaria I had in my blood, I had 6 days left to live.
Oh my God. Wow.
I was like, well, shit, that's a curveball. Like, did not see that coming.
Right.
Not an expected conversation, especially at 20 years old. And so, in that curveball, same thing. I had to sit down and have a conversation with myself. Is this the beginning or is this the end? Is this an opportunity or is this devastation? And I had to make a decision of what it means to me. And to me, I said, you know what? This is the beginning of a new phase of my life. And the new phase is going to be called, there are no ordinary moments. And I sat down and thought about it. And I said, what does that really mean? And I said, it means when you're faced with death, you look around all the things you used to call ordinary, and instantaneously you realize what a true magical moment it really is to be able to breathe and see and walk and talk and feel and have a relationship with people and communicate. You start to realize what a blessing it is to experience these miracles every single day. And before those moments, though, you don't really think about it. It's just ordinary life, normal stuff. And so the concept of whenever anyone's faced with those challenges, or that time when someone looks you in the face and says you might only have X amount left, you start to recalibrate what really is special and beautiful about life. Recently my mom had 2 strokes, and the first one got her real bad. The second one, took her out pretty bad, to the point that I was on video chat talking with her one morning, and she was trying to grip a spoon, and she was having a hard time because she couldn't use her fingers. So she was trying to grip a spoon with her whole hand kind of creased over. And then she finally got it, and her whole hand was shaking as she reached down to try to get to the plate. And it was like tap, 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 just trying to touch the plate. And then she finally got a little bit on the spoon and tried to move it towards her mouth, and halfway it fell off the spoon, and then she accidentally dropped the whole spoon. And I remember thinking, wow, what a beautiful gift to be able to use a hand to be able to move food from a plate to your mouth. 20 minutes ago, when you're so focused on your problems or obstacles, you don't think about those things until it literally, life throws you a curveball, and now it is the most important thing in your world to figure out how to do. And so when you stop and look at those things, that was my curveball, was, hey, you possibly have 6 days left to live based on malaria. And I remember sitting there and recalibrating and just making that decision from that day forward that I would never have an ordinary moment again, because I would look out the window, and every time I saw the wind blow through a tree and the leaf shake, or the clouds float by, I would remind myself, I will never see that magic unfold again in the exact same way ever in my life. That's literally just the precious magnificence of life unfolding before my eyes. And I'm going to train myself to appreciate the hell out of that.
Absolutely. Those are some powerful stories. It's, as we're sitting here talking about this, I think that pretty much all of us and any of our listeners can relate to those types of stories. And it's almost like, in my mind, like I'm thinking back to, like, I lost some friends early on, like early in college, and I felt like I had to grow up very quickly because of that. Like, it made, all of a sudden it went from like, oh, this is all fun and games, to like, no, actually, that person that you're talking to or sitting across from, there's a possibility that they, this could be the last time you talk to them in person. So
that's right.
I think it helps, it gives you kind of an appreciation, and more of an appreciation than, and it kind of, it's kind of sad that I'm saying it out loud, that like I had to, you almost have to like lose something or be on the cusp of losing something or see someone else lose it before you appreciate it.
It's true. It's for most people, they start to live the moment they're faced with death. The moment they're faced with the fact that you could possibly have no more of these days starts to make you really to squeeze the juice out of the days. And it's sad to say, but it's very true that most of us, it takes a real family member or a friend or situation to put us in that position where all of a sudden we go and start to value it. But hopefully, if you're listening to this and taking time to tune in, maybe this will be a little bit of a reminder that you can write yourself a note every day and just write down the phrase, there are no ordinary moments, and use that as your little clue each and every day to remind your brain, hey, there are no ordinary moments. Be grateful. Cherish every breath, every step, every sight, every sound, every movement. Cherish everything. And people are like, well, if I get so caught up cherishing how amazing my life is, don't you think I'll be less productive? Oh, fuck no, you won't. You will be wildly productive because you'll be enjoying every damn moment of it. The good, the bad, the ups, the downs, the left, the right, and everything in between. Cherish the hell out of it. When I say happy, healthy, fulfilled, and strong, think of this as fulfilled and happy. Where if you're really, truly, truly deep down in your soul level of grateful for just the ability to be able to make a call, to try to recruit a client, to work with them, if you're blissed out of your mind and your mind is blown just because you have the opportunity to sign someone up for your service every time, imagine how you're going to treat people, how you're going to talk to them. If someone calls and decides to cancel, enjoy the hell out of it. Be like, hey, shit happens. Sorry we couldn't serve you. No problem. Let's do it. We're like, which card do you want it on? Let's go. Like, enjoy that process. And this people miss it. They think I'm thinking about like enjoy all the good stuff. Like, no, enjoy everything. Enjoy getting kicked in the nuts just as much as getting a hug. Like really, truly, if you can enjoy both sides, you have a gift that very few people on this planet ever get to experience. It's freedom, because you just enjoy all of your life.
Yeah.
Not because it's easy, not because it's all good. It's just because you've learned to enjoy the up just as much as the down, and now you're totally free. You're truly a happy human being.
One word that comes to mind as we're talking through this is gratitude. Like, not just being grateful for, hey, I had a good day today, nothing went wrong, everything went well. I'm grateful. It's like, no, it's just like living in a state of gratitude.
Yeah, I mean, it'll sound crazy to a few friends and family members, but you come home and they're like, how was your day? And you're like, you know what? I'm so grateful. I had the worst day I've had in fucking months, but I'm grateful to be able to experience it, because without the lows, you can't get the highs. And it's not this eternal optimistic, positive thinking, happy fucking person all the time. It's truly, truly finding the blessing in it, finding the lesson from it, finding the meaning that allows you to really just squeeze the juice out of it. And it does make a difference. And overall, if you can train yourself to constantly find a way back to that place, and P.S., you're going to get off track. There is no straight line from Denver to New York. It's a journey. There's twists and turns and ups and downs and uphills and downhills and all kinds of stuff. It's okay to get off track, as long as eventually you come back to the map, come back to your 20-year vision, come back to your 20-year, 10-year, 5-year vision, your 1-year goals, 6-month goals, quarterly goals, your monthly outcomes, your weekly results you're after, and your daily actions, and then come back to the map and say, okay, well, what did I commit to doing today that's going to keep me on track for the 20-year vision of landing up in New York City? What's the next step that has to happen? I'm going to go back to grinding away at it and enjoy the hell out of the process of doing it. Come back to your map from time to time and allow it to get you back on track for your journey. And I don't know why we're going from Denver to New York, but it seemed like a good idea at the beginning of this talk. So that concept of come back to that map and allow those goals, allow that vision you have for your life that's chunked up in these 10-year categories all the way down to your daily actions, continue to keep you on path and keep you moving towards where you want to end up 20 years from now, so that it guides your journey to a beautiful destination overall.
I have to ask after that, where do you want to end up in 20 years? Where's your journey taking you?
It's pretty simple. Health and fitness. I always say I'm so grateful that 20 years from now, I'm healthier and happier than the majority of 20-year-olds in the world. I say emotionally, I'm passionate about my life, living on mission, enjoying every moment life has to offer. Not only that, I'm passionately in love with my wife, and our love and passion grows daily. When we're together, anything's possible. I'm so grateful. Our 10 plus world-class companies and businesses help people become the happiest, healthiest, most fulfilled version of themselves while creating, a huge amount of revenue. I'm so grateful that through our good works, we personally receive X millions a year in business and income. And I'm so grateful we're able to take that revenue and build our hospital, which helps 1,000 people a month, in our schools, which educate 10,000 children per month. And I'm so grateful on that journey we're guided in faith in everything that we do. And so the ability to crystal clear paint the vision of what it looks like. And I use those phrases I just threw out there as summaries of all the goals that fall into every major category of my life. And so I could say one phrase, I'm, at 50 years old, I'm healthier and healthier and stronger than the majority of 20-year-olds in the world. And I say, well, what does that mean? And I could pull out a piece of paper and say, okay, well, what would it mean to me to be healthier and stronger than the majority of 20-year-olds in the world? Well, internal health. What would my gut bacteria look like? Would I have diverse and a wide range of bacteria in there, so I'm really, truly healthy? What would my diet look like? What would my meal plan look like? What would my fitness look like? How strong would I be? Would I be able to bench press 315 pounds and squat 425? That's pretty cool at 50 years old or older. Would I be able to do the splits? I want to be flexible. Endurance-wise, how fast could I run a mile? And so I have all these stats of things I want to be able to achieve, 225 pounds, 10% body fat or less. And so I'm using all these physical metrics to know exactly where I want to be 20 years from now, but then summarizing it in one phrase that's easy to say as an anchor point for me to say the one phrase and link up everything I know I want in the future to that one phrase, so that I could say one thing in the morning and know exactly where I'm headed.
That makes total sense. And this is something that this is one of my Achilles heels, but is being as specific as possible about what you want. Because when I'm like, I'm going to get in shape this year. It's my New Year's resolution. It's like, well,
you got in shape. What shape did you get into?
I got in some type of shape. That's for sure. But it's literally like I moved to a new house, and I was working with normally I'm super adamant about my morning routine, and I was kind of adjusting to living in this new place and having the longer drive to the office and some other things, and I noticed my routine was falling off a little bit. And I sat down and I was like, okay, I need to literally say I'm going to walk to the living room and pull out my yoga mat and put on this exact yoga instructional video, and then after that I'm going to do this. And then as soon as I laid it out step by step, very specific to the point of even where I was doing it, then it was actually it was pretty much effortless after that, because I already had my map drawn out. I knew how to get there. It's very small compared to a 20-year plan, but
it works.
Yeah,
it works like a charm.
Absolutely. And to anybody listening, if you're not getting what you want, start thinking about how specific you're being about what you want. If you're saying well, I want to own my own company and make $1 million, it's okay, doing what? How are you going to do that? How are you going to make your first dollar? Think about a lot of those things. Let's transition to talk about the course that you just released, the Complete Guide to Achieving High Performance. Would you be willing to share maybe a couple little tips from the course and really some of the things that went into it?
Absolutely. So in that course, very, very proud of it. It's a course we put together in partnership with Udemy, as well as a gentleman named Sean Stevenson, Wim Hof, and Ben Greenfield. And so in that course, we sat down and asked the question, what does it really take for someone to be at their absolute best every single day? And then we chunked it down into easy, bite-sized little nuggets of information that we could give someone. Some things will be a reminder, because you already know you should be doing them, but you're not, and we'll give you a specific outline of how to do it or when to do it or where to do it. And then other things in there are insights, things you might not be aware of that'll go, oh shit, I didn't think of that, and that makes sense, and I got to do it. And so to look at it, we started it off with what we were just talking about. For someone to be at absolute high performance, they need to know where they're going. I don't know many people who perform at their absolute best but have no clue why they're doing it. You got to know where you're going. You got to be working towards something. So exactly what we just talked about. What's your 20-year vision, 10-year vision, 5-year vision, 6-month goals, or 1-year goals, 6-month goals, quarterly goals, weekly outcomes, daily metrics? What are all those things you want to do in the major categories of your life. So there's a download that has sections to fill out every single one of those things. Now from there, we say, okay, now that's ultimately how you want to live your life. How do you want to live every day? What would be the type of day that would be so magical, so rich, so fulfilling, so, filled with just the simple moments that make you feel so alive, but so fulfilling that you wouldn't trade anything on earth for it? What would that day look like? Where would you wake up? Who would you be with? How would you feel? What would be possible? Write it down. And so now we have everything between how you want to live your daily life to where you want to be 20 years from now in all the major categories of your life. From there, we got to add purpose to it. We got to get you to a place where really, truly, you can experience deep, deep purpose in all the daily actions that you do, whether it's going to the gym, going to work, hanging out with your spouse, hanging out with your kids. You got to find deep purpose and meaning in all that you do. So I share a story in there of a gentleman I met who swept leaves outside of a village in Uganda, just outside of the village clinic, the little hospital. And I watched this guy every morning at sunrise get up and go down this long dirt path and sweep the leaves off the path. Just step, step, sweep, sweep, step, step, sweep, sweep, all the way to the end. Then he'd kind of arch his back, smile, and just look at the path, turn back around, come back, step, step, sweep, sweep, step, step, sweep, sweep, all the way to the main porch. He'd get on that porch and he'd look back at the path and just have the biggest damn smile on his face I've ever seen in my life. And it wasn't the light. It was just the smile of like true fulfillment. Like enjoying the hell out of that moment, like proud, like he did something that really mattered in that moment. He's just damn proud of it. And I watched him every single day. In the first couple of weeks, no big deal. Within about a month or so, I was curious as hell. I'm like, okay, why does he do it every day at sunrise? He never misses. He's always there. And he's always so fucking proud of it. Like, what is this? What am I missing? He just sweeps leaves, damn it. Why is he so happy? And so, I went and interviewed this guy with a friend who translated, and we asked him, why do you do what you do? And he said, first he just said, because I'm supposed to. And we're like, no, like why? The purpose, the meaning, the reason. Like, why do you do it? What's your reason? And she translated, asked him, and all of a sudden his face lit up really big with this giant ear-to-ear grin. And he said something, and I kind of like shook my friend. I grabbed her arm. I was like, what did he say? And she said, oh, that was beautiful. I said, what? She goes, he said, I believe every human, whether it's a small child about to enter this world or a sick or elderly person about to leave this world, I believe they deserve a clear path to do so. And I remember my jaw must have been on the ground because I was like, wow, I just met a guy who's clearly the groundskeeper who lives in a broom closet in a village in Uganda with no running water, no electricity, no toilets, in the middle of nowhere, the beautiful, farming village, who has more purpose in his life than a lot of people I meet in the United States who have great jobs, great families, who are making a ton of money, have this incredible life, or have this special lifestyle they live. And this guy has more purpose in sweeping leaves than they do in running entire companies. And I just scratched my head. I said, wow, I need to figure out how to have that kind of purpose in all that I do. And I remember, just a few days ago, I was here at the house just sweeping up the living room, sweeping up the hallway. And a friend of mine stopped by who's in real estate. And he's like, oh, what are you doing sweeping? He's like, you know the rule. If you could pay someone else to do it, less money than you could be making doing something else, then you should pay them and you should be doing that other thing to make more money yourself. That's the intelligent business move. And I started laughing. And I said, well, what am I going to do with more money? And he's like, well, if you make more money, then you can do more things to enjoy your life. And I said, well, what do I get when I get to enjoy my life? He's like, well, then you'll be more happy. And I said, buddy, if I can't be happy sweeping the leaves, what the fuck makes you think I'm going to be happy with more money? And I said, but if I can be happy sweeping dust in my hallway, I guarantee you I'm going to enjoy the shit out of all that money I make. And I said, the practice really, truly is finding the purpose in the simplest of things. And that way, when you get all the crazy fun stuff too, you can enjoy the hell out of both. And so this concept of we have a little section that says, now that you've nailed down your vision and your goals and your daily habits and rituals, let's add deep purpose to every single one of those daily habits so that when you go to the gym, you're not just going to the gym. You're sculpting your mind, body, and soul to really become the best man or woman you could humanly be in this lifetime. It's like, wow, that's very different than working out.
Right.
And he said, what about your relationship? Instead of, being a good husband, you're being the Casanova of love and delivering love bombs in every way you can to entice and arouse this woman's soul to the highest intent possible. It's like, well, shit, that's different.
It's a little bit different than just like, yeah, I'm in a happy
I'm a
marriage.
good husband.
Yeah.
But it takes a little creativity, and some of it's going to sound ridiculous, and you'll probably even laugh at yourself for thinking up thoughts like that. But the truth is, if you can find the one, whatever it is, that really brings the best of you to life every day, use it. Because in the end, like I said, there are no ordinary moments. And if you can make even the normal, simple stuff the most magical and fun and exciting thing you do, from loving your spouse to loving your kids to being a good dad to being a great business owner or an entrepreneur, if you can make all these things spicy and exciting and alive with deep purpose and meaning, shit, you've got it. You're winning the game, regardless if it's good or bad, up or down, left or right, hard or easy. Like, you're really, truly there. So there's a whole module on purpose. From there, we go through some of the high performance stuff, sleep, nutrition, exercise. We have guest experts who come in and share the most cutting edge information they have on these things and how to optimize it. With Ben Greenfield, he's kind of a biohacker. He was rated the #1 personal trainer in the US in 2008. Super young guy, ridiculous. He's a brainiac. And so he's always testing the latest gear on his body, kind of like a Tim Ferriss thing. It's hilarious. If I'm funny, look up his podcast and see what he did. He did an injection into his male parts to see if he could increase performance. I was like, buddy, there is a line and you have crossed it. No one is sticking a needle anywhere near that part of me.
Right.
But he was testing some stuff to see what would happen to his overall endurance. It was pretty funny. But he's crazy like that. And we had him go and do the research and say, hey, what's the most efficient way for endurance, longevity, and performance that someone could eat and someone could exercise every day? Ideally, I want this exercise program for a person who doesn't have time, meaning they're so busy, they don't have time to go to the gym for an hour every day. Create an exercise program that they could do anywhere, anytime, any place with just their body weight and still be in badass shape. And so he created a simple program that's like 20 minutes a day that you could do anywhere. And so we put that 12-week program in there. We put the meal plan he suggests in there. Personally, some of the stuff on the meal plan I don't eat myself. Like, I don't eat chicken or steak or some of the other things he put. So I just replaced it. I replaced it with fish. And that's my own personal preference. But he put a meal plan to optimize your longevity and endurance and overall strength in your body. Ideally, I said I want something that helps people gain muscle and lose fat at the same time, which is tricky to do. So he geared the meal plan and the workout plan to be able to do that for anyone who does it. Then we had my friend Sean Stevenson. He wrote a book called Sleep Smarter, 21 Tips to Optimize Your Sleep Every Night and what it can do to your health, nutrition, body, mind, and everything else. So he comes on and shares 6 of those tips in depth, and then the download has the other 21 tips in it just as a gift. We had Mr. Wim Hof pop on and talk about mental and emotional super performance. And so he does the cold exposure as well as a special breathing technique that allows your body to access all the benefits of fight or flight without any of the negative consequences. And then I come back on and I talk about happiness and give people a simple checklist of 6 things you can do every day to boost your overall happiness in life. And then the fun part is we wrap all of it into a morning and evening routine and say, hey, here's a handful of things to do in the morning. We've covered all of it in the course. And here's a handful of things to do at night. We've covered all of it in the course. Do these things morning and night and watch what happens. Your performance will absolutely increase.
Interesting. Do you think that man, you're already selling me on the course. So I'm like, man, I've missed out by not taking this thing yet. 'Cause it sounds like it's
full.
Yeah. I mean, I saw you advertising it, or not advertising, but putting on your Instagram story. And I was like, that looks really interesting. But I listened to Tim Ferriss. I've read The One Thing. I've read this book and that book. But now that I'm hearing you talk about it, I'm like, oh shit, I should probably sign up for that and check it out. So you'll have one more customer whenever I hop on Udemy and pick it up. The question I have though around the routines and some of the other things is that through some of the experiments I've done through like adding and removing stuff from morning and night routines, do you think it's, well, I'm almost answering my own question in my head as I'm answering it, but do you think it's a kind of a one size fits all, or is it like, you can kind of plug and play?
No. So here's what I've learned. One of the philosophies we live by is learn it, live it, give it. Whatever the result is you want, go out and learn. Give yourself a personal PhD on the topic and learn what it takes to actually get the result. 2, live it. Fully apply all that you learn and figure out what works for you and really, truly eat, sleep, walk, talk, eat, breathe, live the result. Live it in every ounce of who you are every single day. And then finally, pay it forward. Now, this is important. Not as the golden fucking pillars of life of here's the 5 things that works for everybody every time, all the time. Bullshit. Nothing works all the time, everywhere, every time. So the concept is here's what works for me. If it works for you, please use it, replicate. If there's a better version and you can take step number 1, 3, and 5, and then everything else toss aside, great. And my 2 cents is for a program like the one in Udemy, we're giving you the best of what works across the board for the clients that we work with. And the ideal client I work with is a 35 to 45-year-old male entrepreneur who owns, anywhere between 1 to 7 companies, makes about $500,000 or more net take home income after taxes and everything, has 0 to 3 kids, is usually in a significant relationship. And their goal is to optimize their personal performance, mental, emotional, physical, spiritual, to be the absolute best version of themselves every single day. And so our programs are geared towards that person. Now, have we had amazing female, entrepreneurs come through the program and get badass results? Of course. It's not just for men or just for 35 to 45-year-old men. It's for everybody. Yet it's tailored for that demographic because that's the demographic that I tend to work with the most in personal coaching. So we created a program for them to help other people who aren't ready for the one-on-one coaching to have something else to go through at a very inexpensive price to be able to still get results themselves.
At least, if nothing else comes out of this podcast, you can use it as an advertising tool because it's like you're hitting all my hot buttons for why I would want to buy something like this. So
yeah, and for people listening, I'm not trying to advertise to you. I'm just saying I'm very proud of the Brown program. If you haven't gotten a clue of that, I'm very, very proud of it. It's something that back in the day we used to create programs because it was a good business idea, and I finally stepped back and I said, you know what? Here's literally what we do in coaching people. Let's just wrap this into a program. And right now, if you go to udemy.com/high performance, I think they were doing a special. So it's normally a $200 course and they had it on sale for $12.
Oh, wow.
So I'm and that's split between us, Udemy, and then split between 4 contributors to the program. So I'm really pumped for my $2.50. But I'm even more pumped at the results that can happen in your life if you're listening to this. And so it's not something that we're using as the big money maker. It's not the rainmaker of our business. That same coaching that entrepreneurs pay me between $2,500 to $5,000 a month to do 2 sessions a month or 4 sessions a month, and then to track them daily in all these areas. And so I'm literally every single day measuring and fine tuning and tracking them in all these different categories and keeping them at their best. But we took that experience, wrapped it into a simple program, and we're one that, I don't know what it'll be when you guys get there. They have different sales and flash sales and all kinds of stuff. But I saw it for like $12 the other day. I saw it for $15 the other day. It goes up and down depending on what sales they run on the site. But our goal really, truly with that one is to help as many people as possible.
Now, it sounds like you guys really knocked it out of the park with this. So I'll, as I've already said, I'll be checking it out. So as we're kind of wrapping up our time together and wrapping up the show, this kind of takes us to the last part of our show where we talk about, just like what really goes into, what types of things go into your like quote unquote formula for like success in your life or career. So the first question I have for you, which you've kind of answered it a little bit, is what does your daily routine look like, or what do you try to do on a daily basis that you feels like gives you a leg up or an advantage?
Sure. So I'll start with the most important thing. The most important thing I do every single day to be at my absolute best and to give me that leg up or advantage in life is make sure that my wife feels like the most seen, understood, appreciated, and loved human being on this planet. And I've learned that life is an amazing opportunity. It's an incredible journey and a blessing and opportunity. But if you don't have someone special to share it with, it's not quite as cool. And so over the years, I found out that if I make her my number one, and every single day, my number one goal from the moment I wake up is to make her feel like the most loved, seen, understood, and appreciated human being on this planet, that she will champion me and have my back in everything that I do to make sure that we can go out there and crush it in everything we're focused on throughout the day. So the most important thing I do every day is love on her. Now from there, now we step into, okay, I've really connected with her. I've loved on her. I'm hearing her. I'm seeing her. I'm present for her. Now from there, I'm going to need to fill up if I'm going to be able to use that fuel to go out there and kick ass all day. So the next piece is, how do I get myself to be my absolute best? And personally, it's a combination of meditation. It's a combination of the Wim Hof cold exposure and breathing techniques. It's a combination of going outside, and we take a walk together on the bay and the ocean here in San Diego, and we talk about what we're grateful for and fuel ourselves up emotionally. We talk about what we're excited about and paint the vision of a compelling future in our minds and outside, and speak it aloud so we both see it and feel it and hear it and get excited about it. Then after that walk and filling up and fueling up, we go to the gym, lift weights, and you know, my version of facing death every day is pushing myself beyond capacity with lifting weights, figuring out what the limitations are and breaking through them to remind myself what's really possible and what I'm capable of. Then from there, I'll come in here and kickstart the day. You know, we have a amazing superfood concoction we put together that has, protein, glutamine, some bee pollen, chia seed, flax seed. What else is in there? Half a banana, some Udo's oils for the healthy fats for the brain. So we make this concoction we drink in the morning and all that stuff to fill up our body and fuel. My wife makes amazing avocado toast to get, again, more healthy fats for the brain to keep it at high performance. And then we'll just have at it and go kick some ass all day.
That sounds like an awesome routine. That's mine's a little similar. I usually work out at night instead of the morning. I like to unwind after a long day. But it sounds like you have like especially that walk on the beach. That sounds nice right now. That's a little cold over here. So next question for you. What is the most impactful book that you've read?
A couple, different for different categories of my life. And so, you know, if you want to look at love and relationships, I would look at Alison Armstrong. And if you want her website, it's understandingmen.com. And my 2 cents to any person who wants to have an amazing relationship, or if you're in one or not, go to her website, put everything in the shopping cart, hit buy, and make it your life's mission to master everything she's sharing. The other books that have really, truly been impactful over the years, I would throw out the book, The Tools. It's a great book. It's filled with really insightful strategies and tools that you can help people hands-on in the moment and get actual results right in front of you. Overcoming fear, having self-confidence, building yourself up. Very useful as far as tools to help people with. My favorite book, though, that really just touched my heart was probably The Alchemist. I love the fact that it goes back to the philosophy of there are no ordinary moments, because he looks at his life and just somehow gets lost in thinking it's ordinary, goes on this incredible journey only to come back home, only to realize everything he was ever looking for was always waiting right in front of him if he could just recognize the fact that there are no ordinary moments. And it's a beautiful representation of that, and I love it for that.
Whenever anybody asks me about what my recommendation is, I'm like, have you read The Alchemist? And they're like, no. I'm like, then what are you doing here? Like, go read it. Get out of here. Don't ask me. Like, you'll find the answers you need after you read that book if you don't have them already. Actually, based on the book, you already have the answers. You just need to find them.
That's right.
Yeah. So that's awesome you said that. So in wrapping up, you know, I want to say thanks again for taking the time to come and chat with us on the Formula Podcast, Jairek. I feel really inspired after chatting with you. I don't know if you've heard this before, but you're a pretty motivational guy. So 2 quick questions for you. What's next for you after you've released the course? I know you're running your businesses and you released a book a few years ago, but what's coming up next for you?
So right now it's getting to as many people as possible, but we're teeing up. We have a whole suite, and it's taken us years to build this, but we have a whole suite of options from that, you know, high performance course, which is great for employees and team members within a company. We have a coach training program, which is great for managers and how to better coach and manage their teams within the organization. Keynote training, consulting, keynote speaking. So we have all this lineup of suites and products, and our ability to go out and reach the masses with that within larger organizations. It's kind of our next step. So going and talking to them and saying, hey, why don't we get your 500 employees to do the high performance course as a wellness program, help them become happier, healthier, sleep better, have better health, better nutrition habits, exercise, do all the things that keep them at their best so that they can be the best every day when they show up here at work. Why don't we get all your managers to take our Performance Coach University program and become better coaches and leaders of the organization so they can better manage the team and keep them at their best? Why don't you have me out to come do a keynote to kick it off, and then we'll do a consulting gig, a couple each quarter, and come out and really keep everyone fired up. And so being able to wrap that around for a corporation is kind of our next step of rolling that out and really being able to support them in all different angles throughout the process instead of just having one or the other available.
Yeah, that's awesome. It sounds like you've got quite the selection of different services and stuff that you're offering right now. It's I was going to ask.
Nice. It took 7 years to build, so.
Yeah, you're
It's nice that it's finally ready.
Yeah, you were an overnight success over 7 years, something like that, right?
Yeah.
No, I was gonna ask you, how do you manage to get so much stuff done? But you've pretty much told us already how you managed to do that. So, last question for you. Usually, I ask the guests just if they would like to leave a message to the audience, whether that's inspirational, motivational, call to action, whatever it is. What message would you like to leave our audience today?
Really simple. I'd go back to that core philosophy. Remember, there are no ordinary moments. Figure out what it is you really want. Figure out what your ideal life or day looks like, and go out and learn what it takes to actually turn that day into reality. Figure out the real, true, personal PhD of what you need to know to actually make it real. 2, live it. Fully apply yourself and put yourself to work and really, truly make that your day-to-day reality. And then always, once you figure out what works for you, find a way to pay it forward as an option for other people to learn from. And I think, if you're willing to do that and you're willing to put the action in, you'll have the life you dream of, and you'll find so much fulfillment in sharing with others of how to help them make the progress as well.
Well, folks, that is all for this week's show. Thank you for taking the time to tune in to this week's episode of The Formula. If there's anything in this show that you found interesting this week, go ahead and check out the show notes to find links to Jairek's book, Live It, and to his class over on Udemy. I'll be taking it as well, so if you decide to sign up, please feel free to reach out and maybe we can exchange notes. Now, if there's any topics or guest suggestions that you have for the upcoming year, 2018, please feel free to reach out to me at trevor@helixacademy.co. That is all for this week's show. Thanks for tuning in, and I look forward to you stopping by or listening next week.